You interviewed Joe Rogan recently.
Yeah.
And he said something that I thought was really, really brilliant during the podcast interview. He said that
he's going to love hearing that. But go ahead, sorry.
But yeah. he said that he realized at some point that the turn in his opinion about UFOs happened when he realized how desperately he wanted it to be true. Yeah. This is the human condition. Our pink matter works the same way as everybody's pink matter. And one of the ways that our pink matter works is with this thing, with what's known as a cognitive bias. It's a mental shortcut. Essentially, your brain doesn't want to process through facts over and over again. Instead, it wants to assume certain facts are in place and just jump right to the conclusion. It saves energy. It saves megabytes. So what Joe or Joe Rogan, I feel weird calling him Joe, I don't know him, but what Joe identified on his own.
Mr. Rogan.
What Mr. Rogan identified on his own was his own cognitive loop. And then he immediately grew suspicious of that loop. That is a super powerful tool. That is something that most people never become self-actualized enough to realize, that they have a cognitive loop, let alone questioning their own cognitive loop. So that was, when it came to this topic specifically, that was just something that I thought was really powerful, because you learn to not trust your own mind.
Just for the record, after he drinks one whiskey, all that goes out. I think that was just in that moment in time, like,
a moment of brilliance.
A moment of brilliance, because I think he still is, he's definitely one of the things that inspires me about Joe is how open-minded he is, how curious he is. He refuses to let sort of the conformity and the conventions of any one community, including the scientific community, be a kind of thing that limits his curiosity of asking, what if? Like the whole, it's entirely possible. I think that's a beautiful thing, and it actually represents what the best of science is, that childlike curiosity. But so it's good to sort of balance those two things, but then you have to wake up to it like, is there a chance this is true, or do I just really want it to be true?
Right.
And that,
the hot girl that talks to you overseas.
Yeah. for a brief moment. There's actually a deeper explanation for it that I'll tell you off the mic that perhaps a lot of people can kind of figure out. Anyway,
just to take it one step further, because I love this stuff. Personally, I love pink matter stuff. In your interview with Jack Barsky, Jack's a good friend of mine, a good dude.
Yeah, incredible person.
Yeah. In your conversation with Jack Barsky, you guys, he started talking to you about how his recruiters were feeding back to him his own beliefs, his own opinions about himself, how smart he was, how good he was, how uniquely qualified he was. That's all pink matter manipulation. Feeding right back to the person what they already think of themselves is a way to get them to invest and trust you faster, because obviously you value them for all the right reasons, because that's how they see themselves. So that loop that the KGB was using with Jack did not wake up to that loop at the time. He woke up to it later. So it's happens to all of us. We're all in a loop. It's just whether it's about oat milk, or whether it's about aliens, or whether it's about, the Democrats trying to take your guns, whatever it is, everybody's in a loop. And we've got to wake up to ask ourselves, just like you said, is it true, or do we just really want it to be true? And until you ask yourself that question, you're just one of the masses trapped in the loop.
Yeah, that's the Nietzsche gaze into the abyss. It's a dangerous thing. That's the path to insanity, is to ask that question. You want to be doing it carefully, but it's also the place where you can truly discover something fundamental about this world that people don't understand, and then lay the groundwork for progress, scientific, cultural, all that kind of stuff.